Limewashed my son's nursery 9 days postpartum, and here's all the details on how I did it. You'll need 2 strengths of Limewash to create dimension. I did color Atelier Wabi at 150% and 100%. The walls in the nursery, not including the ceiling, are about 500 square feet, so I ordered 1 gallon and 1 quart of each strength. For prep, we did not prime or seal, but I do recommend at the very least priming. Use a 2 mil plastic for the floor and just use painter's tape around the windows if you have any. Stir very well before and throughout the whole process to make sure the lime and paint is integrated. You don't want to be able to feel the lime on the bottom of the can. During the process, I tried working out of both a paint tray and the painting can, and I personally preferred directly out of the can. It was a lot easier to mix versus the tray. I very lightly dipped my 5-inch block brush into the can and then wiped off the excess. I prefer to go in light and go back in if I needed more. Now let's talk about brushstroke, which is the most important but can also be the scariest part of it. When I was doing research myself, I came across 2 methods, the X method and the cloud method. I think what I did was a little mixture of both. I'm honestly not sure. Here it looks like I'm doing a little bit more of the X method, but I have some clips that I'll show here where it looks like I'm doing more of the cloud method. And then sometimes it feels like I did a little mixture where I started out with the X's and ended up with the clouds. What I do know is that it's important to maintain a wet edge, so continuous movement is key. That being said, I did this in between nursing my newborn, so if I had to suddenly stop, I just try to pull or stretch the paint out as far as I could with strokes. So when I came back, I wouldn't have any harsh lines that wouldn't blend well when I started back up. Although you can see here, I did leave some areas with harsh lines. I really think a lighter color Limewash is more forgiving and beginner friendly versus a dark, because overall, I think everything ended up blending together really well. Now getting into the first and second coat process. When choosing the color of Limewash, find what strength you prefer, and once you find that strength, go with a strength that is 50% darker, and that will be your base coat, which is what I'm doing here. So I purchased 100% Wabi and 150% Wabi, and the 150% is what I'm applying here first. And I'll go back in and apply 100% Wabi on top, and that will be my second coat. I applied the same stroke method for both coats, and you really have to trust the process because it does look a little crazy. The first coat does take longer because you want to make sure you're covering up all the existing paint that is on the wall. You can see the difference here where this smaller wall on the right is finished with both coats and everything on this wall has only 1 coat. The second coat you can be more free and don't have to be as focused. This is where you'll create movement with your strokes. I went over the trim with a straight stroke, which I'll get into more in the next portion of the video, and then I just continued inside the box molding with the same stroke method I was doing before. I had a lot of fun with this coat. Again, you can be more free and it's really not as stressful. Taking a step back here to go over lime washing with trim. This was the trickiest part for me. If you're lime washing a wall without trim, it's so much easier and less time consuming in my opinion. It took me a while to figure out a good system to paint the box molding and trim. At first, I just tried to paint the trim along with the wall and in between the small areas, working my way up or down. It was super time consuming and hard to keep a wet edge. What I found to be the easiest was painting the trim first, which is where I had my guy Victor come in and help me because it made the first coat run so much quicker and smoother. Because then I just continued to paint as normal inside the box molding. Here's another view of a wall that is completely finished versus a wall that only has 1 coat applied. It's a lot more busy and you can really see the strokes versus those same walls with both coats applied completely finished. It created a nice, calm, and subtle movement, which is exactly what I was personally looking for. But if you're looking for something with a little more movement, I'd go with stronger strengths. Here's a wider view of the nursery. I really think the lighter colors of Limewash are super beginner friendly. This was my first time ever doing it, and I was 9 days postpartum when I started and just doing it in between feeding my newborn. When I first started looking into Limewash, I was super intimidated and overwhelmed, so I hope this video helped break it down even just a little bit, and make sure to come back for the full nursery reveal.